Hello there, and welcome to the Bitcoin Takeover podcast. I am Vlad. This is still season 12. I haven't finished recording for this one yet because there's still people who want to join in and talk about their projects. And today we have a first time interview with someone who hasn't showed his face on camera for some Bitcoin project before. His name is Chris. On Twitter, he is OB_HODL. And he's working on a project which concerns content monetization and helping content creators make the most out of their product with Bitcoin. And his name is Chris, and the name of his project is Bumbee. So, hi, Chris. It's good to have you, and it's good to have you for the first time. I take pride in stuff like this.
Hey Vlad, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, you did not present a plan. You just told me the name of your project, and we have known each other for longer than 3 years. I met you in person at the Baltic Honey Badger in 2019, and it's been a while since we talked. So, what are you up to? What's up with Bumbee?
Well, it's been a while, and in Bitcoin time, I would even say it's like almost, it feels like it has been 10 years. And we are just 3 years, and much has happened since then. Let me just introduce myself before we get started, just to give people a little bit of context, and they can take what I say into the right context. So I will divide my life in before Bitcoin and after I got into Bitcoin. So before I was in the police for 10 years in a SWAT team, which was very interesting and a great job. But at some point, it just felt not enough, and I had to change. I went in the private security field. I worked firstly international as a security contractor, and then started my own security company. And during the time at this company, we were also active in fraud detection, fraud prevention. And that was actually my introduction to Bitcoin. I met scammers from the BitClub network, I think it was the name. It was a huge mining scheme at the time. They basically collected money and tried to make the payouts with the Bitcoin, with the money they collect. The funny thing that what happened to them, that Bitcoin price was appreciating so fast that they had so much money at hand that they really happened to build real mining operations that they can show amount of damage they could do. In the country I'm from, I was able to help some victims to get some people arrested for it. And I also followed it globally. It was quite an interesting thing, huge scam. So that was basically my introduction into Bitcoin. And during my investigation, I also went to one of these sales pitches that they gave. And it was basically the same sales pitch every shitcoiner and most of the scammers are giving. Like,
Chris, for some reason, you cut out sometimes. I don't hear you in the middle of a sentence.
Okay, I don't know why that happens. Let's hope it will get better now. I can hear you very well and I can see you very well. Should we continue?
Yes, you mentioned about the sales pitch.
Yes, I was there and I listened to it, and they did the standard sales pitch, like talking about Bitcoin and why Bitcoin is great, and then explaining that the time to invest in Bitcoin is over, but still possible to make money when you give your money to them and trust them with their mining projects. Whatever, it sounded, I was sure that it was a scam, and they ticked all the red flags, but still that the presentation got me hooked, and I kind of fell down the rabbit hole very quickly, and that actually changed my life. I started reading, listening, trying to get every podcast. At that time, there was not much. It was Andreas, as I remember, on YouTube, who was a great resource for myself. And it was, I kind of went down that way, and I have not looked back since. I think a year later, I sold my shares and moved to a zero tax country, where I'm still now until today. And I started to try to add value to Bitcoin by building on Bitcoin. I have been trying different things. Some of them were successful, others were not. And one of my one of my ideas was to do something that has nothing to do with, like, classically you would start with mining or you would build something related with exchanges or wallets. But I was hoping that I would be able to help Bitcoin and build something valuable on the way by giving people the possibility to earn Bitcoin. I believe that people do is not what will get Bitcoin the currency that will dominate the world. The reason why Bitcoin will dominate the world is because it gives people freedom. Like it gives people freedom by enabling them to participate in a global financial system. So I like to compare it with the internet. The USP of the internet that it makes information free for everyone, built on the TCP/IP protocol with several layers on it. And what Bitcoin is basically doing, in my opinion, it is giving everyone the ability and opportunity to transact with everyone else, and no one can stop that. And this is, in my opinion, the biggest USP in Bitcoin. And that is something that will not just help some Western investors or hedge funds, but it will mostly and firstly help, like, a 16-year-old born in Nigeria who has basically not much opportunities in life. He has no passport, he has no bank account. But in these regions now, you can buy very, very old used smartphones. You can get internet access somewhere. And by enabling these people to start earning their own Bitcoin by using their creativity, this is, in my opinion, one key to help Bitcoin grow. So to not just teach them how to use it in a safe way, but also how to earn it. And my idea was to build a platform. We called it Bumbee at the end, like the bum and bees, like having bees in the bum. It was an idea of one of our assistants, and everyone liked it. And the plan is basically to allow people to generate digital content on their smartphone. It can be text, it can be video, it can be pictures, it can be live streams, and then ask to get paid sats for this content. So basically, let's say you are a cook, you're on Instagram, you're at a party, you make a nice cake, and then some people ask you how you did make that cake. Then you could theoretically direct them to Bumbee. You could charge 1 cent, or I don't know. So we are running on BTC Pay with Lightning enabled. So you could pay very small amounts to get a 10-minute video on how to make that cake. That is, in my opinion, a perfect example. But basically, you can use it for anything. You can use it for educational content. You can use it for whatever you are able to do, and in however way your creativity works or what talents you have. As long as you can capture it digitally, you could try to sell it on our platform. That's the main idea, and that's what we are trying to do now. We started approximately 2 years ago. We have a beta version online that is fully functional and working. It's not perfect yet. As anyone knows who develops software, this is not something that you can do like with a time plan. It's just if you resolve 2 bugs, you have 10 more. And this is normal. And I'm also not in a rush, because I think the most important thing for the success of any startup is basically timing. I recently read something about the 3 most important factors to be successful as a startup. So it's basically the idea, the team, and the timing, these 3 things. And the author of the book I read, he gave 70% of these 3 points to timing. So timing is everything. If you're too early with an idea or a product, you will not be successful. If you're too late, you will also not be successful. I think looking at our project, we are too early now, because I mean, there are different estimates on how many people are using Bitcoin today. I personally would put it between 30 and 50 million, not counting all the customers some exchanges claim to have. Or this is not Bitcoiners, in my opinion, most of them, or not people that need Bitcoin or that will be in the target group for what we are doing now. So it's not many globally, but I assume and I predict and I believe that this number will grow exponentially. And I think in the next bull market that will, I don't know, probably start in 1 month, maybe in 2 years, nobody knows, but at some point, then if you have the next, let's say 10x in user count, and probably also the price will probably also follow, then I think the timing will be perfect for us to start with marketing and to approach the market. But what we are doing now already is that we are reaching out to grassroots Bitcoin communities and to projects that teach people somewhere on how to use Bitcoin in areas, in third world countries, in areas where these people do not have any other possibilities. They are really nice projects. And what we would like to do is we would like to get in touch with those Bitcoiners and would like to offer them partnerships so that our mentors can tune in maybe online, or we can even send someone to some places. It always depends on how much budget it would need, of course. But what we want to basically do, we want to help educate people, not just on how they can use Bitcoin, but also how they can earn Bitcoin, like closing the loop basically, and enabling people to live in a digital economy. This is, I think it's the future, and have seen nice projects globally, like coming out of the ground in the last maybe year or months. And this is where we want to go. This is where we want to start. And then in 1 or 2 years, our plan is to go to countries like Nigeria, El Salvador, Venezuela. I think also Russia and Ukraine is interesting, and start there by having local influencers to help other local influencers be onboarded. This will be more difficult and also more expensive for us, but I think this is probably the best way. I don't believe in Google ads or Instagram ads or Facebook ads or anything like this. So we will really try to catch the right people with the right audiences and try to help them understand what we're doing, and also understand how they can benefit from it, how they can make money with this platform, and how they can have a censorship-resistant income, preferably in countries where there is no functional banking system, or maybe also in very oppressed countries where everything is very restricted. So I think this, let's say the 4 billion people in the world that do not have a bank account and do not have the good life that we are used to because we won in the birth lottery. I think for those people, we hope that Bumbee will be a net positive and will also help indirectly the Bitcoin adoption in these communities or in these areas.
So let me ask you this. How would you compare Bumbee to existing social media platforms which allow you to share content? Is it like Instagram? Is it like TikTok? Is it like Facebook or something? How would you describe it?
I will mention a platform. It is unfortunately only known for its explicit content. It's called OnlyFans. They are doing this very, very successful. I'm talking about this topic because, as we know historically, every new technology will probably always be used for something related to sex. Still, until today, 30% of the internet traffic is porn, and it's just how humans are. Sex.com was the first domain ever registered, and I assume that with what we are doing, we will also enable people to share explicit content. So this is why I mentioned OnlyFans, and OnlyFans has perfected this way of sharing digital content. It is, in their case, mostly explicit content. In our case, our idea is to give the user the possibility during the sign-up process to select if he wants to see we call it for now the clean version or the explicit version. So the users that do not want to be confronted with this, they are basically protected by just disabling it, and others who want will be allowed to do it. Our idea when it comes to government of the platform is also to do as less as possible, but we will go so far to say that everything that is prohibited by criminal law in the region where the user comes from will also be prohibited by us. So I basically do not believe in censorship, and I'm a classical Bitcoiner, but we have thought about it a lot, and we have to make sure that we protect users by checking if the local laws regarding to this topic will be complied to. My first idea setting up Bumbee was to do it completely without KYC and AML and nothing at all, which is basically a good idea. But in this niche case, we have basically decided to handle it in a way that everyone can post anything. But as soon as someone wants to make money with something, and it is explicit content, he would have to show us proof that he's above 18. This is the one and only and most important rule that we have, to prevent everything related to child pornography or other illegal things that are related to this topic from the beginning. So this will be enforced very strictly. But basically, everything else will not be prohibited. So we will not interfere in anything related to Bitcoin or social things or religious things or whatever. So this we will not touch. But the only thing we will have to make sure is that those users posting explicit content are above 18. That's probably one of the most important things on that platform, to not let it go in the wrong direction from the beginning. So we have very actively thought about the topic. I know it's like a taboo topic for many, but I think it shouldn't be, because I think what this is doing, it enables sex workers globally to make money from their safe home. If you look at the lives of sex workers in most developed countries, it's like probably one of the most dangerous jobs that you can imagine. And most of the people doing it, they don't do it because they choose to do it, but they do it because they have to do it or they're forced to do it. And I also believe that with what we are doing, we can give these sex workers a possibility to make money in a safe and secure way, and reduce many risks from transferable diseases to violence. So we thought a lot about it, and in the first glance, it's always a topic that no one wants to talk about, but I think it is important to talk about it and to try to make it as secure and as safe as possible for anyone who decides to do it for whatever reason. You never know why people are doing what they do and what motivation they have. Maybe it's just an 18-year-old woman wants to feed her baby with no other opportunity, no other chance, no passport, no bank account, and this is a lifeline for her. So it's it's not a black and white topic. It's many gray areas, but I think it's important to talk about it, and it's also important to provide possibilities for people that work in niche areas that are not respected from the society, and also help them make a living. Yeah.
I think we went so quickly from written content to sex work. That was such a quick switch. But
yeah,
you mentioned
I don't want to. Sorry.
It's like OnlyFans, but with Bitcoin. When you first described it, I was thinking about one of Alex Bosworth's project, which is called YALS. Basically, it's a microblogging platform where you can enable publishing articles with a paywall. I think you're doing something similar, and the registration can also be done with your Bitcoin node, I guess. Can it be on Bumbee?
Well, the registration will need an email address, and you have to select the username and give a password. These three things you will have to do. So the least intrusive way with the least amount of information, and still the ability to verify yourself if in case of someone will steal or misuse your account. The reason why I went so far to this topic is because I think that most people will be interested in this and how we treat this and how we see this and if we accept this. And if you look on how Bumbee is built, it's built with a very strong focus on sharing pictures and also share text. Also pictures, videos, and you can do live streams. So these are the three things that are the easiest to do on our platform. And probably most people will have the idea to do something, or a lot of people will have the idea to use it for something explicit, And that's why I try to bring this up very proactive. And I want people to know that we have thought about all the aspects. We have tried to implement the best possible protection. We are also standing to this philosophy that we will respect anyone who is doing illegal things in his country, because if someone would do something illegal or harm other people, we would also cooperate with local law enforcement and send their user details, which is against the Bitcoin philosophy and against what we believe. But it is something that I think this is a line that cannot be crossed, and we will try to adhere to it as strict as possible. If it comes to protection of minors, this what I said before, that they are above 18 when posting explicit content. So that's the one niche, the one use case that is very important to really take care of, that it does not go in the wrong direction. I mean, we would welcome like photographers, cooks, educators, whatever. That would be That would be, of course, perfect, but we have to be realistic. And I just think there will be much explicit content as well, and we have to have a strategy to deal with it, to handle it, and we have to communicate it openly. We have to set the rules, and if people accept them and respect them, they will have the possibility to earn Bitcoin on our platform.
After Mt. Gox collapsed, that was really the precipice of me saying, right, this has to change. We need a totally transparent exchanging system and base it on gold instead of fiat.
Vaultoro is the hard money exchange which helps you beat inflation with instant swaps between the best stores of value known to man, gold and Bitcoin. Unlike most exchanges, Vaultoro understands the importance of transparency and security. All gold holdings are secured in top-tier Swiss private vaults and fully insured against theft, fire, and more. Maximize your purchasing power today by going to vaultoro.com/Bitcoin takeover. This is not financial advice, but gold has been humankind's most reliable store of value in the last 6,000 years. Do your own research. Use promotion code TAKEOVER for a one-time bonus of 1 gram of gold for the first 50 new customers buying gold with Bitcoin. Are you concerned that your friends, neighbors, or KYC exchange might know how much Bitcoin you own? It is time to take your financial privacy seriously with Wasabi Wallet, a free and open source wallet solution which makes use of mega coin joins to mix your coins with those of hundreds of other strangers. Thanks to the groundbreaking Wabi Sabi engine, your coins get divided in smaller, untraceable units, which grant you great anonymity for both hodling and spending. Download Wasabi Wallet 2.0 today at wasabiwallet.io and take advantage of the mega coin joins. It's free and it's open source, so don't trust, verify. What are you going to wear when Bitcoin hits $1 million? The same old $20 t-shirt? Try Maison Machi, the designer clothes made in Paris by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. They're not your average mass-produced sweatshop clothes. Machi will ask for your measurements and tailor every piece of clothing according to the shape of your body, so you always look and feel great in your t-shirt, hoodie, or dress. It's all made in France by real artisans who also happen to be Bitcoiners, which is why Maison Machi only accepts Bitcoin as payment for their clothes. Get a Maison Machi t-shirt or hoodie today. It might even help you find a girlfriend. And once you do get a girlfriend, you can also buy her a Maison Machi dress. Stop having fun looking poor and check out maisonmachi.com. That's MAISON MAACHI.com. So Chris, you presented this comparison with OnlyFans, but I think that the fairer comparison is with Patreon. I think that's the platform which is more welcoming to all sorts of content. I'm pretty sure that there are lots of models who post nude photos on Patreon, and probably they have terms of service to not enable hardcore stuff or whatever. But I think that Patreon is the bigger competitor to this type of business. And I was just looking at the revenue model, and they seem to take about 3% on all transfers, but they also take 30 cents for every donation that's larger than $3. So it's pretty complicated, but they take a lot more. And I can tell you from my own personal experience that last week I withdrew some money from Patreon into PayPal and into my bank account, and I lost about $20 just by doing this.
It's crazy. It's crazy. No, I completely agree, Vlad. But you know, I see it like this. That when Twitter started, it was a platform that allowed you to share your location, to tell your friends where they are. You know, it's a completely different thing. So what we are doing is, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to provide a platform for users to get a benefit from it. You know, and we are very curious and interested in how our users and what users will use our platform for what. And our idea is, and our plan is, and our strategy is to be as flexible as possible, and to build Bumbee in a way that the users want to use it, you know, that it adds value to them. And I'm not able today to predict what Bumbee will look in 3 or in 5 years, because we have dedicated ourselves to listen to our users, and we always encourage feedback, and we try to get as much of it as possible, and then we will see where that leads us. It is definitely possible that Patreon is a better comparison, but it's also possible that there are different ways of digital content monetization that are all a bit different. But I think what makes us special is that we are currently the only one that is Bitcoin only. So we do not have any fiat rails at all, which makes our life a lot easier, firstly, but getting business a lot harder, secondly, of course. So it's a trade-off. Like Bitcoin did trade-offs with privacy, but it has a decentralization. So there are many different, nothing comes for free. Yeah? But we decided actively to pursue that path, to be Bitcoin only and to stay Bitcoin only, because we see what the banks and the banking system and Visa and MasterCard are doing to other competitors, like also Patreon and OnlyFans and whoever is out there. What they're doing to them, what they basically do is they extort them, they blackmail them, they take as much money as possible. I saw a few months ago, I saw numbers about that. I think it was about OnlyFans, and I'm not sure how much it was. Don't quote me on this, but I think they spent like 900 million on processing fees for Visa, which is an absurd amount, a crazy amount, and you can only explain it by Visa or MasterCard blackmailing them to pay that, or they will cut them off. So it's crazy, basically, what's going on. These banks and credit card processing companies have so much power, they can basically shut anyone down. So we wanted to not give this leverage to anyone from the beginning. That's why we decided to be a Bitcoin-only company. Our company is registered, but we do not have a bank account. We do pay our employees with Bitcoin, and we do not have any fiat interrails or how I say, any crossroads to the fiat system. So we try to stay out of that 100%, which will make our life business-wise much more difficult. But I think it will be a decision that will turn out to be very wise in the long run.
Yeah, makes sense. But I guess there are also concerns like maybe that you want to use a legit email if you want to verify your age. So there's not much privacy there, and this can lead to authorities forcing you to store more data than you want to. So do you have any kind of plan for that situation when they're going to be knocking at your door asking you to store more information to KYC your users?
Well, basically, let's put it like this. I believe that KYC and AML is one of the biggest cancers that the world currently have. We've only achieved the exact opposite what it was supposed to do. A drug lord laundering $1 billion can afford the 5 best lawyers and tax advisors, getting him bank accounts and everything. But the small business owner who does everything legal, he cannot. So the KYC and AML only hurts the wrong side of it does exactly the opposite thing it's supposed to do. So I do not think it works, but of course it is a problem, and it can become a problem for us. But our strategy is to collect as less information as possible. And this minimum that we have decided on is that we will KYC those people that would like to post explicit content. Everyone else will not need to give us any information except that email address. But anyone who wants to post some explicit content, he would have to upload ID proving that he's above 18. And if there would be a legal problem with that account, then we would also cooperate and give this information out, like from that person that has made money on explicit content illegally. This is basically one niche use case where I think we have to make that trade-off and protect our users, because the whole reason of us doing what we do is we want to add value to people's life, and we don't want to create the opposite thing. So this is something we have to do and we will do. But in all other regards, we do not plan to give any information to anyone, to store any information longer than needed. And we believe in privacy, we believe in freedom, we believe in adding value, not by collecting data and selling that data to someone, like, or getting hacked by someone like many other companies do. So we think it's better for us to have less information about anyone. I think it's a benefit for us at the end, and also a benefit for the user. I think on the long run, if you have a fair relationship with your users, treat them fair, be honest with them, then I think it will hopefully lead to a successful business.
Yeah, well, let me tell you how a competitor can take you down if they are very malevolent. Basically, they can subscribe to somebody else's OnlyFans, take the pictures from OnlyFans and post them on Bumbee, and then create lots of accounts that are fake and do not represent the creator. And that's only going to get you in trouble and get you into lawsuits and all that situation, where essentially you either pay up or you're gonna have to make sure that you identify all of your users, and that's going to defeat the purpose, and it only gets worse.
No, you're right. There are definitely attack vectors like the one you described. And I also think that, I mean, if you're not successful, nobody will care. But if you're successful, I definitely expect people trying to hurt us. But this will be, the decision how to deal with these things will be something that have to be made individually, case by case. And we will always try to stick to our priorities and protect our users. And we will try to do that. And I mean, there are always best and worst case scenarios, but I agree with you. The world is sometimes a bad place, and people are very creative, and it comes to hurting and destroying other businesses. So I just hope we can navigate that minefield. And I also understand the risks that you just mentioned. They are definitely there, but we will do our best to navigate them as good as we can, and we will hope for the best. I mean, our strategy is definitely to collect as less information as possible, to store only as much as needed, to giving the user the experience he needs, like giving him the ability to re-access his account and look at the content or consume the content he bought, and that's it. And we will also try to educate our users on privacy. I mean, my dream would be journalists using something like this, to getting information out and getting paid for it. And when they use it through Tor with some small tools, they can also do that in a very private way. And this would be, I mean, it's definitely possible. I hope we can attract this kind of people. Time will tell. But it would allow many people that are not making money for their very valuable work to get money in a like censorship-resistant form, and in a safe form, and in a way that the government has, at least it has much more difficulties to shutting them down or collecting information from them or taking away their money. Like, I don't know, the GoFundMe campaign for the truckers in Canada, like where they just seized all their funds, and which is very easy for governments today. But in our case, at least the money of the user is not on our. There is never much money on our platform, because we encourage our users to always withdraw what they earn. They can withdraw at any time, and so our idea is to not be like a bank for anyone, but to just be a tool for people to make money, and then they can take it under their own control in their self-custody wallet and do with it whatever they want. Hopefully, that's the vision.
So how does it work with money withdrawals when you take your 10%? Do you take it during the payment process or during the withdrawal process?
Well, it's basically in our backend. I mean, the bitcoins we get, they will be transferred directly in a cold wallet, and then on the backend of our platform there will be this, let's say 10,000 Satoshi will be credited, and when you spend them, it will be automatically let's say you spend $1 to a creator, then it will cost you $1.10. And then you will see the difference in your balance. And at some point, you can choose to withdraw your balance. And the only thing that we have at the moment that we need the transactions to be mature. Like at the moment, we're talking about, I think, 24 hours. So the money has to be on the platform for at least 24 hours to make sure for us that we are able to track what's going on and to make sure that no one is hurting us by hacking our backend or doing something bad to us. So we have to be able to verify that the Bitcoin came in on that side and going out on the other side are both real. So we can make sure that someone is not withdrawing something that he has not earned, but only manipulated our backend. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense. And I also appreciate the fact that it's the payer for the content who covers the fees and not the creator. The creator gets the full amount, which is great.
Yes, that's the idea. Yes, I mean that's how it is now. That's how we do it now, and that's how we want to keep it. Yeah, it's I think it has a lot of potential, and if it works, it can really help many people. It can change a lot in some communities, and that's what we work for, and that's what we hope to achieve.
Yeah, so on the topic of sex work, I remember in 2018 I was writing for Crypto Globe, which was a website which was focusing on lots of shitcoins. And at the time there was this big news piece about Pornhub and the company behind it that started adopting a shitcoin that's called Verge, XVG.
I remember.
And it was such big news at the time, and everyone was talking about it during that day.
Yes.
And also they convinced some of their models to accept payments in Verge. And it seemed like such a good idea at the time because if you looked at the graph, the price pumped up to that point, and then it went down like 90% in the next 2 months. So I think a lot of people got burned with that deal.
Definitely.
I mean, the founders.
I think it was some kind of privacy shitcoin, if I remember right. No,
it's pretty ironic because the privacy qualities are questionable at best. The network was 51% attacked like twice, and it was caused to have inflation bugs or something. And also, it used to be called Dogecoin Dark before it was rebranded as Verge. So it was basically rooted in a meme coin. You could not take that very seriously. But somehow they had the money and they had the connections to make that deal. And while you were talking about, models using this kind of technology and your platform, I was thinking, okay, at least this time it's going to be Bitcoin. So it's less likely for them to get burned like that.
Yes, one very important aspect of what we do is to also educate so let's put it like this. We just don't want users who are already Bitcoiners. We would like to find people that are in need of Bitcoin and in need. And our idea is to educate people on how to make the content, like how to make pictures, how to make videos, like teach them these things, and then also teach them how they can convert the Bitcoin they get to their local shitcoin, because most people do not live in a circular Bitcoin economy. So it's great for them if they have a way to make money, because if you live in, I don't know, Sudan or Iran or anywhere, no one in the world can send you any money. It's impossible because of the sanctions and all the problems. So we basically help them to be able to accept payments from all over the world. And then we will try to educate them on how to spend their Bitcoin. So of course, we would prefer if we could send them to local supermarkets where they can buy food and pay with Bitcoin, but this is not realistic in the next, 5 or 10 years, I guess. So for now, we will focus on helping them to find trustable sites like, local Bitcoins, for example, or others that have been on the market. I hope BISC will become stronger and better soon. And we will try to teach them on how to use these tools to also because those people, they are not investors in anything. They just want to make money to buy food or to fulfill their basic needs. So we will also try to help them and teach them from the beginning and how they can end up buying something at the end with their local shitcoin that they are using. And this is a very important aspect from what we are doing, that we are not just targeting Bitcoin people. We want to produce them by how they can make for the first time in their life money from a region in the world where it's supposed to be impossible for them. That's our vision, and that's what I think will also provide the added value for Bitcoin itself. Because if someone gets into Bitcoin by being able to, for the first of the time in his life, earn money in a country that is very poor with no bank account, then I think this experience will be very, very, very intense for this person. And I think it will help Bitcoin's development, Bitcoin's adoption, teach them on what wallets to use and some basics about seed backups. I mean, today it's no rocket science to download a Bitcoin wallet and write down the seed. I don't understand the recent discussion about the complexity of private seed management. I mean, of course you have to write it down, and of course you have to protect it. But if you look at the history from the last thousands of years, people have always been able to protect their paper money and their gold coins from other people stealing them. So this is not the new, let's say, treat that we have to learn, that we protect some physical things to make the whole network secure. I think it's I know it's a hurdle, but I think it's overestimated, and I think the user experience is getting better and better to get this done easier and safer. And I think we're on a good way in this regard. And we would like to help, like spreading education, spreading links to the right to Bitcoin-only companies that have a good reputation, that have a good history, and that will benefit from that, hopefully. Like anyone in the ecosystem that is honest and is not printing its own token out of thin air to scam some people, like many do, as we know.
Okay. So I was looking right now to see what the fees are like in the case of OnlyFans. Those seem to be about 20% of what the content creators are making. And after the content creators get their 80%, they still have to pay taxes in their jurisdiction. And it can be anywhere from 10 to 50, 60% of that.
Yes.
So
correct.
I'm pretty sure that Bumbee has a monetization scheme of some sort. And how much do you guys charge on their Bitcoin earnings?
Yes, the fee model at Bumbee works like this, that we will have a flat rate of 10% all in. That's it. So whatever you make on Bumbee as a content creator, we will basically get 10% of that value, which we need to keep the site running and to pay our employees. That's our current idea. We don't want to have any, how to say that, like a structure or some, like when you make more, you get more. We don't want to make things complicated. We want to keep it as simple as possible. And the user will also always get the information on our site, like how much he makes and how much we get from it. There will be like earning backend site that the user will be able to access, where he sees exactly how much he got from which fan or from which follower, and how much we made of it. And the current strategy is to charge 10% all in for anything we for all the turnover, basically. Yeah.
Okay, so that's still half of what other websites do, and it's Bitcoin. So there's always the incentive to HODL and, delay your gratification, wait for better times. Maybe you're going to make more from your income. Maybe you're going to increase your purchasing power, especially, I guess, in developing countries.
Bitcoin is a great teacher, and it, unfortunately, for people to learn, it mostly needs pain. And if you spend your Bitcoin and then the price goes up a lot, it's just painful, And it's something that is very useful, and it's a good experience, because if you have Bitcoin again, you will probably not let it go as easy. So the hodlers are made in the over times, over these cycles that we're all going through since quite a while. And I think it's fascinating how people's time preference change when they understand Bitcoin, because the fiat system has many huge problems and implications that are basically destroying the world. But one of them is definitely the lesson that people learn is to spend their money as quick as possible, having a low time preference. And this changes so much in life. And I believe this is a very important thing. And I hope that more people will understand. And everyone is, every single person in the world who understands is valuable and will spread that message like Jesus did 2000 years ago. That's why we Bitcoiners are sometimes perceived as a bit annoying, because once you got it, you can't stop You can't stop thinking about it, and you just feel like Neo in the Matrix, that you're the only one who can see it. So it's quite interesting. It's amazing times we're living in. I mean, imagine we are just experiencing the birth of the most fascinating technology asset, however you want to call it, in the world, like the first real good money that humans ever had, and hopefully ever will need. It's amazing.
I mean, we can argue whether or not this is the first good money. I think gold was pretty good until it became state-owned mostly. But yeah, it's easy to verify, it's easy to transfer, it's global by nature. It has lots of advantages that we have not seen. Plus, we have this immaculate conception, which is, I guess, impossible to replicate.
I think one of the most important things is the asymmetry of violence that Bitcoin inflicts by making it exponentially harder for governments or other criminal organizations to extort you out of it. So I think it has similar implications like the gun border revolution that made the advantage the knight had with the armor and the swords basically pointless, because it just changed the power of violence, the symmetry of violence, and that's what Bitcoin does actually. Bitcoin changes it completely, because it's much easier to go with a gun into someone's house and take the gold from his safe than to get 12 words from someone's brain. And even then, if you have a smart person, he will have passphrases, he will have decoy wallets, and it's impossible if that person is understanding the value of holding non-KYC Bitcoin and how to use a passphrase. It is basically impossible to get that Bitcoin from him if you do not know exactly how much he has. That's why I always say we speak about Bitcoin, but not about our Bitcoin. So this is, I think, a very important lesson that people have to learn. And the funny thing is,
nobody in this conversation has any Bitcoin whatsoever. So
of course not. And they want the Bitcoin we lost in boating accidents, of course. So it's exciting, you know. The more you understand the possibilities Bitcoin gives you, it's just fascinating. For every solution, there is just a perfect problem, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's a piece of art. It's an incentive system that is just pure art in my opinion. It's hard to describe, and on whatever aspect you think, there's so much to say about it. Beginning from the proof of work, the difficulty adjustment, the cryptography element. There's so many fascinating things, and to connect them all together in this way, I think this was really the genius stroke that Satoshi landed, was to create the incentives that connect all these players together to enable Bitcoin to be trustless and peer-to-peer. And it's beautiful and amazing. And I'm stunned every day when I wake up about it still after 7 years.
Don't you find it strange that you first attended the Scammy presentation and that was your introduction to Bitcoin?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't find it strange. I know many scammers and fraudsters, and what we see in Bitcoin is that money meets complexity. And that's exactly like a honeypot for scammers, because no one understands it, but they think they can make money with it. So if you have a scammer coming in, explaining all the history of Bitcoin and its beauty in a more or less good way, and then saying, okay, now these people, they made their 10,000%, and now you buy my shitcoin, and then you make much more because it goes not just until 10,000, but it goes to 1 million or whatever. You know, unfortunately, it's easy to manipulate people, and greed is one of our strongest notions that we all have in us. And I have seen the smartest people just losing everything out of pure stupidity. I've seen university professors, politicians, really smart people. They got scammed so easily you cannot imagine. And this is what is also my takeaway from the FTX debacle, which there is a lot to speak about. But for me, the most important fact is that what Sam Bankman-Fried did, that he was, I think, the best educator in this year. I think he was the one creating the most Bitcoiners, the most self-custodial Bitcoiners. And, you know, unfortunately, most people learn by getting burned or by experiencing pain. And then they do this 5-minute research, which they should have done already before investing their life savings. And then they figure out how to do it right. And learning that lesson is painful for many, but I think pain can be also a way to grow, you know. So at the end, I think all these shitcoin exchanges, or let's say shitcoin gambling operations, they will at some point all go bust. and the users that get burned, they will learn from it. And so you have to find the positive in every negative. And I think in this regard, it was good for Bitcoin. As we say, everything is good for Bitcoin.
Oh, I can argue that not everything is good for Bitcoin. It might be for the network, but not for the humans using it. And that's
Of course,
a distinction that we must always make.
Of course, I agree with you.
But I was gonna take the conversation back to Bumbee a little bit, because you did not mention about anything about registration right now. Is the platform ready? Can people start using it to post videos, to post text?
Yes. So the basic functions are already working. It is possible to make posts, to post pictures, to post videos, to make live streams. That is all working. As I mentioned before, the platform is running on BTC Pay, which is a great tool. And it is possible to basically charge your wallet with Bitcoin and also pay other creators for content they have that you like or that you think it is valuable enough to pay, I don't know, 1 cent, $1, $5. I mean, there are no limits on the down and upside how much someone can ask for his content. And this is already working. It's already live. We have told our friends that the platform is running. So all of them registered, of course, and their friends. So I would say we have maybe currently 100 people on it, running it, doing it, testing it, giving us feedback, helping us to grow and to get better. But we have not started with the marketing campaigns yet. As I mentioned, we will probably do that when the next bull market goes in full force, because I think this will be the best time for people to teach people about Bitcoin. So I mean, the bear markets are the most funniest time on Twitter, as you know, and the bull markets are the best times to spread the message to new users who listen and hear only that Bitcoin is going up currently, and people only they how to say that they don't think very long term. But if the climate is positive for noobs and for beginners, then I think it's the best time to spread that message. And that will hopefully be I hope in 6 months, maybe 1.5 years. We have not decided yet. But so far the platform is up and running and it's working and everyone can use it. And I'm really happy about every single person trying it, using it, and giving us feedback and telling us what is not working and what he doesn't like, because we can only get better from people that are giving us shit basically and telling us what we have to improve on and what we have to make better. We have started producing content to educate users, to give them first basic information about us, about the business model, about Bitcoin, of course. And yeah, I mean, we are in a beta, but it's open for everyone. And we hope to attract as many as possible now to get good feedback, to improve and get better. And our strategy is to improve as much as possible over the next months, because as you know, as soon as you have real users, it's not, let's say, bigger amount of users, but the bigger amount of users you have, the more difficult it is to change. Same like for Bitcoin, for the Bitcoin protocol, or for anything basically. So yeah, that is where we are now. And I would really appreciate every single person. We will read every feedback we get on our side. We will, so far, we are also able to get back to every single person and thank them for what they're doing and maybe ask other questions. So it's a very important phase for us. We do not make money yet, and it will probably take a while until we do, but we learn a lot and we get better. And I was really fortunate to have a great team. We are 6 people at the moment, like full-time, working on that project. And everything is moving, and I think it's moving fast compared to other software companies, what I have experienced so far, because we have a good atmosphere. We have very nice employees, very good software developers, and I'm really confident that we can deliver a good product and add value to many people at some point. How long that will take is an open question mark, but we are willing to endure, let's put it like this, and we believe in our vision. And even if it takes longer than I hope now, then we will not give up. We will follow through on this, and we will do what's necessary to give people that opportunity to earn a censorship-resistant form of money for their value. And this is our vision, and that's what we are going to do, and that's what we are working on.
Yeah, I was looking at your documentation right now, and you recommend people to use Blue Wallet and to buy their Bitcoin on... It's local Bitcoins. I was thinking of HODL, but that one I think only works in Europe.
Exactly.
And I was going to ask you to which extent you enable Lightning support. And the second question is, if let's say that I'm not a creator, I'm someone who wants to enjoy the content that somebody else created. Do I need to sign up with an account, or can I just pay one microtransaction to unlock the content that I want to see specifically? So is it a subscription that's time-based, or is it?
No, you have to sign up. The reason is that if you, let's say, buy content by buying, let's say you pay 10 cents for this video and 10 cents for that photo, then probably you will not like to enjoy it just in this moment and once, but you will want to have the opportunity that when you go online next time, that you will see it again, maybe. So that's why we require the users, even the followers or fans, to sign up. But it's a very non-invasive process where we just need one email address and you need to select some username, whatever it is, and the password. So these three lines you have to fill, because then when you spend money on, also first of all, we need it that we are able that when you send Bitcoin to us, we need to track that somehow. And, if there are problems, if there's a support issue, if there's a support ticket, then we need to be able to help that person who sent that Bitcoin. So if you would not know nothing about them, it would be very difficult to do that. And if that person buys some content and he has some internet problem or he gets shut down or something, then when he would come back, he would not have that content anymore that he bought. So that's we decided to make a very, let's say, minimal invasive way to sign up by getting just one email address. And with this, we are able to help that user if something goes wrong, or make a much better experience for him by giving him his profile, where he can see everything that he ever bought or that he ever did on our platform, if he is interested in doing that. But most people that spend money on digital content, I think they will want to have the ability to use it and not just see it once. What was the other question that you said first?
Yeah, so it was about Lightning Network, if you enable it.
Yes, definitely. It's basically it's BTCP gives you this option, and we definitely I see the future of specifically those people that we will be serving to. They will not be having big amounts, and they will not. So I think Lightning will be very important in the future and grow, and we will definitely support it and enable it. Yes.
Right, Chris. So when you sent me your pitch for Bumbee and you asked me if I can have you on my show, you presented to me this idea that you want to shift wealth from the first world into the third world. And I want to ask you, how do you think that's going to happen? What is your vision for that process?
I think what we are currently experiencing in the world is that those countries that do not have this high-end financial infrastructure, like in most parts of the Western world, they have the greatest need of using Bitcoin. That's why we see these amazing things that are done in Africa. We have seen it on the recent Bitcoin conference. We see the adoption in Nigeria is skyrocketing. There are many things happening. It's very exciting. And the reason is they do it because they need it. And I think that will create an asymmetry at some point, because as Bitcoin goes up, those people will profit. So wealth will shift, and those people that will be the first, or also the first countries that will really adopt Bitcoin, will benefit the most of it. So I think we are in front of a big change in the world. I cannot. It's difficult to predict macroeconomic changes, because you never know how long a damaged system can drag on. It can be 2 years, it can be 20 years, but something is coming, something big is coming. It's also visible when you look at the clown world we are living in. It's so polarized, it's so strange to watch what's happening all over the world. And the funny thing is, in the history of mankind, of recorded history, we have always seen strange things happening, polarizations of societies happening before big events unfolded. Whatever, let it be the Second World War or the downfall of the Roman Empire. So I think what we're experiencing in the world are symptoms of a big underlying problem, which is basically the fiat system, where you can trace back most of the problems societies faces, from the incentives to lead endless wars. I call them the fiat wars, that are now going on for like 50 years all over the planet, and destroying wealth, destroying whatever the fiat system sees as a threat. And this is crazy, actually. And I think I hope, let's say, that will change. And I hope Bitcoin will play its role in that change and helping people now in areas that are underdeveloped to develop that ability to use and earn Bitcoin is, in my opinion, something very valuable for the future. But not only in the future, also today, think about some influential content creator living in some of the countries I just mentioned. How can he make money today if he has no bank account, no PayPal, no credit card, nothing? It's not possible for him. He can basically be as good as he wants. He can make the best pictures, the best content, write the best poems, make the best educational content, but no one will give him money because the system does not allow it. It's just impossible. And what we are doing is basically the first way to give people from very poor countries the ability to get money from every country in the world. It doesn't matter where the follower or the fan is. He can be in the US, in Canada, in Europe, in China, anywhere, and he can send that person creating that video in, I don't know, India or I don't know, Nigeria or Ghana or Sudan. He can send him 10 cents or $1 or 10 euro. And I think this is amazing, and this is a revolution, basically, in my opinion, that will open up doors and opportunities for billions of people to participate in this digital economy for the first time in their life. And I think that is huge. This is a huge thing. I hope I will be a small part of it. And I'm sure we will see other great companies taking up on that and doing similar things in the future and helping those people that are in these regions to not just store their Bitcoin, but also to help them to make Bitcoin, to earn money, to store the value of their creativity, which is it's mind-blowing in my opinion.
Well, it certainly sounds better than telling them to create NFTs and sell them on the marketplace.
It's so crazy what's happening in this market. Sometimes I really wake up and do not know if some of the things that I read are satiric or ironical or memes, or if they're real. You cannot distinguish anymore today. It's unbelievable. Yeah? It's crazy. It's crazy world we're living in, crazy times. But I think it's also amazing because what we are experiencing in our lifetime, I think it will be unique in the history of mankind. What we are seeing now, the development of this new form of money that no one has ever seen or even dreamed of. Most people do not even understand why they need it because they don't know it, because the system is incentivized to not tell them. You go to school in Europe for 9 years and no one tells you about money, what money is, fractional reserve banking, fiat system. I don't know, not even what inflation, deflation, stagnation, what all these things are. Most people don't understand these concepts. They don't understand that inflation is taxation. This is just something, it's so far from them, and they see the problems, they feel the problems, but the politicians make it easy for them to just blame, I don't know, Corona for it. I mean, Corona was a catalyst, but it was not the causation from anything. It just made things deteriorate faster. It made it increased the money printing, and it made the process faster, but it did not cause anything. Same with the war in Ukraine. The US is leading 100 wars constantly all over the world, and now Biden is blaming Putin for the inflation in the US. I mean, it's almost funny, to hear these things and to imagine that people will believe this and will really think that is the truth. So it's crazy. It's interesting, and there are many opportunities now, and the world will look different in 10 or 20 years than today. And I think the earlier you understand what's coming, the more you can profit from it by having a better life later. And I hope that Bitcoin will play an important role in this process. I believe so.
Yeah, I was just thinking right now, definitely I do short clips from my podcasts, like 30 seconds, 1 minute of content from each episode. I take them and I post them on social media. And I was thinking, what if I posted them on Bumbee a day earlier and gave people who are willing to pay the opportunity to see them before the rest of the world? And do you think that would be a sustainable model?
I think it's a great idea for two reasons. Because first of all, the people who like someone's content, they want to have it as soon as possible. So I believe people will pay for it to have it sooner. But secondly, and this is also beautiful in my opinion, if people appreciate someone's content, if they appreciate what someone is doing and how much work he's putting into it, and they can make a decision to helping that person by giving him, let's say, 10 cents or $1, or just watching it on YouTube on the next day. I think that those people that really appreciate you, they will do this not just because they want to see it earlier, but they know that they will help you with it. They will make you money that you have in your pocket at the end of the day without struggling with banks, Visa cards, MasterCards, PayPal, Patreons, bureaucracy. So I do think it will work. And I also think the way that you consume digital content, it is already changing, 15 years ago, no one had any TV subscription. Everyone was watching the normal TV and seeing the ads, which was the model they made their money, Today you pay, I don't know how much Netflix costs or other streaming services cost, Disney Plus or Apple, you pay $10, $15 and then you get it without the ads. It has changed. And 15 years ago, people would not have been willing to pay $10 for something like this. Today they are, because they see the benefit of it. And I think all other content, I think this will happen in all areas. So people will understand that if they want to have high quality content that is early and without ads, then it will cost something. It should be fair, But I think 10 cents or 50 cents or €1 is something that is, if I watch your podcast, if I listen to your podcast for 1 hour and I'm entertained for 1 hour, it seems ridiculous to not think that it wouldn't be worth 20 cents for me to do that. If I appreciate what you do, if I think that you add value to something that is important for me, then I think people will do that. I think in the future, it will be not uncommon that you consume, for example, books in a way that you will be enabled to pay them per page with very small lightning transactions. You can choose how much of the content you want, and you can choose, and you can only pay for that. So you can pay for exactly what you want, and you can always decide if it's fair for you to do it or not. I believe that most of the piracy sites that have grown in the last 10, 15 years, they would not have existed if you could have bought those films to a fair price very early. Because for me, I only stream, let's say, illegal films if I cannot get them somewhere. If I don't have them on Netflix or somewhere where I pay a few dollars for it, I find them somewhere else because I want to see them, But if you have the possibility to get them in good quality and without without clicking on 10 ads, then I will always pay a few cents or maybe $1 or €1 to get entertained for 2 hours. And I think that is the future of digital content consummation, that you will really choose what you want and whom you want, and then you will make that active decision to pay for it a little bit, or just wait a few days and see it in a not as good quality and not being able to support that person making more of that content. I think this is an interesting development, and I think this will help us to get people like you, for example, is a perfect example. This would be an amazing use case for us, and it would be great if it would be a possibility for you to earn Bitcoin without hassle, without problems, without stress, and you would also get a feeling for how much the people really support you, because you know how it is. It's always different to support someone like emotionally, or just pay 10 cents for him or $1. It's not about making a lot of money for someone. It's just about, if you have a few thousand users that give you a few cents, you can live from that. If you're on YouTube, then it's difficult or impossible. So I think this is where we are going, and I hope that we can play part in it, and that we can help people to make money that way. That's what I believe in. It will happen at some point. The question is just how long it will take, and how many people will try it, will use it, will experience it. Will there be better competitors giving a better user experience? So there are many ifs. We are very early now, but we will try to find our place in this niche. And I believe the niche is big enough for many different enablers of digital content monetization.
Yeah, so let me ask you this about Bumbee. Where and how is the content stored? And the purpose of my question concerns censorship resistance, whether or not it can be taken down or it can disappear in a few years.
Well, what I can tell you that we have hired a pen test company that is making sure that, I cannot tell you what kind of server services we are using and what we are doing exactly, but I can tell you that we have hired a penetration testing company with the sole purpose to ensure that everything that our users trust us with, that we need to store to make it accessible to others, is as secure as possible, applying all the industry standards. This is what I can tell you. And I'm a Bitcoiner, and I know that everything that can get hacked will get hacked at some point. So this is the reality we're living in. You can do as much as you want, and you can have the best intentions, but it can still go wrong. We are trying actively to prevent it, but unfortunately, our business requires us to store those content that we have to make accessible to others for them. So there is no way around it. We will always try to make it as private as possible, to collect as less information as possible, no location information, no addresses from users. Basically, as less as possible, or as less as possible from your browser. Only the browser alone could give you the ability to make to get 1,000 data points about you. So we try to get as less as possible. So we have to secure as less as possible. So we would make potential breaches as less impactful as possible. That's the idea of it. But I'm not an illusionist, and I know that it is always a risk if you store data from someone and try to protect it. That no matter how good you are and how good you mean it, it can happen. And we are trying to reduce the implications by making the amount of personalized information that we store as small as possible.
Yeah, I think my concern was not necessarily data protection as it was censorship, and to which extent content can get taken down. As I'm experiencing, I think I'm shadow banned on YouTube, for example, because I post these shorts and they used to get like a few hundred views, but now they get like 5 or 6, and that makes me wonder what went wrong, because it's only been 1 month. You can argue that it's a bear market and people have lost interest, but at the same time, the difference is huge, and it makes you wonder, are these even showed anymore to people, or have they been hidden somewhere?
I do think that we know that Twitter is applying algorithms that automatically shadow ban or promote certain accounts according to the criteria they will give them, And I think it's very hard for the individual account to tell exactly what you did good or what you did wrong. But I definitely believe that Twitter is doing that 100. I mean, this is what we know specifically since the Twitter files. We basically know that Twitter was and is a propaganda machine that is used by the elites to give the perspective they like at the moment they need it. So these are facts as of today, not only conspiracy anymore. And I don't think that all the criteria for these mechanisms are revealed yet. So I think it's hard to understand, but I believe that it exists. And I hope that we will never have to deal with this kind of problems. I mean, it's a difficult topic, but again, we try to not engage at all with this, with promoting content on the side or censoring content on the side. And the only benchmark that I told you that we are applying is the checking the age of people older than 18. That's basically the only criteria that we have given ourselves, and the rest of the content should not be touched by anyone. And we do not have moderators or anything. We have the possibility to report something that is like harassment or illegal or whatever. So you can open a ticket, and then one of our support staff will look at it and make the decision case by case. I mean, it is very difficult, and it's also impossible to automate it or to solve it with a protocol, because people are just good in finding loopholes in these things. So there will always be there has to be a minimum amount, I think, of censorship. But yeah, I know it's a very delicate topic, and I don't think that there is a perfect answer on how to resolve it. Otherwise, someone would have probably done it already.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and I wanted to basically ask all the hard questions.
No, I appreciate that. And I think our strategy is to be as less intrusive as possible, and still morally okay for what we think we should do, And I think every person has a different perspective on that, and we can just do our best. I mean, we are basically, all of our staff and myself are hardcore Bitcoiner. We are freedom-loving, privacy-loving people. We understand the negative implications of privacy restrictions, of all these things. So we can only do our best to bleed our heart into the code of the product, as I always like to say, and make it as good as it can be. As good as anything centralized can ever be, because we are also a centralized company with a few people sitting there and making decisions. This is just a reality that we cannot neglect. And that's always the weak point of any system, basically, to have people make decisions, because people are not perfect, as we know.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna give your platform. So it's called Bumbee. The website, if you want to access it, is bumbee.com. It's bumbee.com. I think I'll give it a try with these video shorts, not because I want to make money, but because I want to see how many people are willing to give a small amount for the content.
Vlad, this is amazing. I'm really happy that you do that, and thank you very much for doing that. It's really cool. You know, it's like when you have an idea about the project and then you build it, and then you see when the baby learns to walk, it's just beautiful. You know, and I really hope that you appreciate it and that you like it, that it will add value to yourself. So I'm really happy about that.
I'm not super comfortable with the idea that at some point the platform will be mostly known for adult content or whatever, but it doesn't matter. I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm just trying to provide a use case for a Bitcoin project. And let me ask you this: how can people follow you personally and the project Bumbee?
Well, we have, so my personal Twitter account is OB minus HODL, and our official Bumbee account is, let me check. Seconds.
I see that there are quite a few Bumbees on Twitter.
Well, there are two actually. It's official Bumbee and Bumbee CEO. So official Bumbee is our official site, and Bumbee CEO is also me. So basically, you can follow Bumbee CEO or just OB HODL. And official Bumbee, we are, as you can see, we have at the moment, we have 7 followers. So we have not been doing much. We have not been promoting it much yet, but we're just getting started with our social media. And yeah, I'm really happy about the possibility that you gave me today to talk about it and to present it to some really interesting Bitcoiners. And yeah, thank you for that, Vlad. Thank you for everything. And I really hope being able to speak about the success of what we're doing in a few years again, and then look back at this interview today. That would be nice.
I hope so too. Best of luck with the platform.
Thank you very much, Vlad.
After Mt. Gox collapsed, that was really the precipice of me saying, right, this has to change. We need a totally transparent exchanging system and base it on gold instead of fiat.
Vaultoro is the hard money exchange which helps you beat inflation with instant swaps between the best stores of value known to man, gold and Bitcoin. Unlike most exchanges, Vaultoro understands the importance of transparency and security. All gold holdings are secured in top-tier Swiss private vaults and fully insured against theft, fire, and more. Maximize your purchasing power today by going to vaultoro.com/Bitcoin takeover. This is not financial advice, but gold has been humankind's most reliable store of value in the last 6,000 years. Do your own research. Use promotion code TAKEOVER for a one-time bonus of 1 gram of gold for the first 50 new customers buying gold with Bitcoin. Are you concerned that your friends, neighbors, or KYC exchange might know how much Bitcoin you own? It is time to take your financial privacy seriously with Wasabi Wallet, a free and open source wallet solution which makes use of mega coin joins to mix your coins with those of hundreds of other strangers. Thanks to the groundbreaking Wabi Sabi engine, your coins get divided in smaller, untraceable units, which grant you great anonymity for both hodling and spending. Download Wasabi Wallet 2.0 today at wasabiwallet.io and take advantage of the mega coin joins. It's free and it's open source, so don't trust, verify. What are you going to wear when Bitcoin hits $1 million? The same old $20 t-shirt? Try Maison Machi, the designer clothes made in Paris by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. They're not your average mass-produced sweatshop clothes. Machi will ask for your measurements and tailor every piece of clothing according to the shape of your body, so you always look and feel great in your t-shirt, hoodie, or dress. It's all made in France by real artisans who also happen to be Bitcoiners, which is why Maison Machi only accepts Bitcoin as payment for their clothes. Get a Maison Machi t-shirt or hoodie today. It might even help you find a girlfriend. And once you do get a girlfriend, you can also buy her a Maison Machi dress. Stop having fun looking poor and check out maisonmachi.com. That's MAISON MAACHI.com.